Here we go.
Hello and welcome to Bounding Into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding Into Comics. Today I got a story about Moses Ingram, the actress who plays the Inquisitor Reva in the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney+, revealing that Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company instructed her to expect racism from Star Wars fans. So let's get to this story here. One of our writers, Jacob Smith, wrote this one. And I usually cover articles that I write, but I think this one is extremely important. So we're going to cover this one that Jacob wrote here, and I think he did a great job writing that. But as you can see here, headline is, after endorsing calling all white people racist, Lucasfilm prepped actress Moses Ingram against, quote, racist backlash to her Obi-Wan Kenobi character. So we're kind of going to go through this article where we're going to recall what Lucasfilm did just a little over a year ago in response to racist comments made by one of their Star Wars The High Republic hosts, Krystina Arielle. And then we'll get into what Moses Ingram had to say about what Lucasfilm and Disney told her to expect for the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So, Ingram's revelation that Lucasfilm believes their Star Wars fanbase is racist comes a little over a year after the company endorsed supporting calling all white people racist. If you recall, back in January 2021, Bounding Into Comics reported that newly hired Star Wars The High Republic host Krystina Arielle had previously claimed that white people are racist. In March 2020, Arielle tweeted, "White people, effing stop it. Your racism won't save you. Your ignorance is not an excuse." You can see the tweet here. In May 2020, she wrote, "White conservatives, please stop invoking racism like you give a crap. You don't. You just want to be able to say, what about when someone calls out 45, referring to President Donald Trump and his blatant racism." And then in June 2020, she also wrote, "Just a reminder that white women are just as complicit in the upholding and enforcing white supremacy," responding to an Axios tweet about Kayleigh McEnany describing the coronavirus as Kung Flu and it coming from China. So in response to our reporting and Jack Posobiec bringing that to a wider audience on Twitter, the official Star Wars account came out in support of Arielle, writing, "Our Star Wars community is one of hope and inclusivity. We do not stand for bullying and racism. We support Krystina Arielle." Interestingly enough, by supporting Krystina Arielle, they were actually endorsing racism against white people because that is exactly what she was doing. So this is what Star Wars was doing. This is what Lucasfilm was doing in January 2021. I believe they would then fire Gina Carano shortly thereafter and claim that she was, they didn't like her social media post warning about the dangers of hating your neighbor, something that Krystina Arielle was clearly doing. And then they would fire Gina Carano for warning about that type of disgusting behavior. So it shouldn't be surprised that this revelation that Moses Ingram said that Lucasfilm was warning that their own fans were racist, when in fact they were the ones endorsing, calling their fans racist, and actually endorsing someone who was being racist towards them. And so let's get into what Ingram had to say here. So before we get to that, we got what Joby Harold said. He is the show's creator. He said that Reva's character will contribute to the legacy of Star Wars villains in a really interesting way. We'll see if that's the case. But regardless of what her role is or how impactful it will be, Ingram revealed in an interview with The Independent that Lucasfilm trained her to deal with the, quote, racist backlash towards her character ahead of the show's premiere. So this is what she said. "It was something that Lucasfilm actually got in front of and said, this is a thing that unfortunately likely will happen, but we are here to help you. You can let us know when it happens." She also noted that Obi-Wan Kenobi director Deborah Chow has been, quote, putting the proper systems in place so I feel safe as we do the work throughout production. She wanted to say, of course, there are always pockets of hate, but I have no problem with the block button. In the interview, the outlet, The Independent, cites that the often repeated lies that John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran received racist fan harassment following their respective roles in the recent Disney's Star Wars trilogy. And again, which has been debunked, but they don't care about that because it's all about the agenda. Ichibaka did a fantastic job of debunking that, and Jacob here brings that up. He says instead they took comments she made in a letter to the New York Times about being a woman and a person of color and conflated that with the negative reaction fans had to the film The Last Jedi in order to discredit criticism of the movie. And I think that's exactly what is going on here. I think Moses Ingram and Lucasfilm and Star Wars are trying to get ahead of criticism of the show, given that the leaks that have come out clearly imply or clearly show that the show is not going to be very good, that the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is going to be as bad as what a lot of fans have come to expect from Disney and what they have done with Star Wars. And people are going to be heavily critical of it because, again, it is another George Lucas character that is going to be thrown on the altar of wokeism and destroyed in order to prop up, more than likely try to prop up Ingram's character, Reva. So I think Jacob makes a proper analysis here. He says, sensing that the fan base Lucasfilm continues to profit off, yet rushes to condemn whenever they reject or criticize the latest pet project from executive producer Kathleen Kennedy, the Disney-owned company is looking to get ahead of negative reaction to the series when it drops this coming Friday. And again, I think he's absolutely right about that. And I actually think it's also part of their marketing strategy. One of our other, who just joined our team, John Della Rose, he speculated back in, I don't even remember when this was done, but I think this was maybe a year or two ago when you had a bunch of Star Wars The High Republic authors also coming at fans, calling them racist. That is part of their marketing strategy to try and gin up attention about the show. Because honestly, I don't think there's a lot of interest in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I'm not really seeing it. I think people have really kind of panned on Star Wars. They're not really interested in seeing what Kathleen Kennedy-led Star Wars has to offer anymore, especially after the Book of Boba Fett and just disappointment after disappointment with Disney Star Wars now. And so I think it's a twofold thing. They're trying to get people interested in the show by having Ingram go out here and basically say that Lucasfilm thinks all their fans are racists, and then at the same time trying to deflect from the criticism that the show is going to be bad and that people are going to be critical of the show and that they're going to be able to try and hide behind the fact that they've already called the fans racist, and then when they're actually being critical of the show, they're like, oh no, they're just racist, and they can try and hand wave it away. But I think people have wisened up to that now, and I think people are kind of fed up with it. I think that label doesn't really work as well as it might have even 5 years ago or even 2 years ago. I don't think people... I think people see through that now. They see that label is just something used to attack your enemies, and it doesn't actually mean what it used to mean, and now it's just a partisan tool. Instead of actually kind of maybe looking at the criticism that you're receiving, they just try and hand wave it away, and what that ends up happening is you end up destroying your franchise and your fan base because you're actively attacking them, and that's exactly what Lucasfilm and Star Wars have been doing since Disney took over the property. That's well documented. I've a number of videos on that, a number of articles I've written about that. This is not a surprise that Lucasfilm would do this. This is part of their MO now. This is to be expected. I expect more of this on the way. I expect them to do stuff about the Andor show like this. Anything that comes out from Disney and Star Wars now, you should expect stuff like this to happen where they're actively insulting you, they're showing that they hate you, and honestly, you really shouldn't be supporting them because they do hate you, and they're making it abundantly clear that they do. But let me know what you make of this. What do you make of Moses Ingram's comments? Are you surprised by it? Do you plan on watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics.